Diary of St. Francis de Sales, November 28th. God not only hears the prayers of his faithful, but also listens to the mere desire and preparation of their hearts. If he is so favorable and eager to fulfill the will of those who love him, why then shouldn't we be zealous in following God's holy will, and not only do what he commands, but also what he reveals to be his desire and pleasure? Noble souls need no greater reason to do something. It suffices to know it is the desire of their beloved. Theotimus, Book 8, Chapter 7. On November 28, 1622, St. Francis de Sales, returning through Valence, found himself unable to leave due to the large crowd desiring his blessing and eager to touch or even snatch a piece of his clothing. He stayed at a small inn called the Little Paris, which was constantly surrounded by people. In that inn, there was only one available room with a single bed. So Francis offered the bed to his chaplain, who was feeling unwell. The good priest, naturally, refused to accept such a situation. Our saint said, "Well, then we'll share it." So they took the mattress, sheets, and blanket to the floor, and he lay clothed on the couch. As he said, the sick should be preferred. The next morning, there was another act of kindness not to be overlooked. Having already bid farewell to his visitandine daughters, he returned to the inn and called for the landlady to say goodbye. Upon learning she was busy counting some money and couldn't come, he said, "We'll wait a bit." His companions objected since he was already mounted on his horse and waiting on the street. He insisted, "Let's be courteous. If we pay for her services with our money, let's also repay her affection and goodwill with a kind word." The lady eventually came out and was astonished to see the bishop waiting for her in the street. Francis blessed her and offered many pious counsels for living saintly in her situation. Reflection of November 28th. The reflection for November 28th invites us to consider God's profound attention to our desires and heart preparations. St. Francis de Sales reminds us that the sincere desire to please God and follow his will is heard attentively by him, which should motivate us to be equally attentive and diligent in fulfilling his desires. For noble souls, this understanding of divine wishes is sufficient motivation to act, highlighting the importance of living with pure and God-centered intention. The account of his experiences in Valence highlights Francis de Sales's humility and consideration towards others, even amid fame and public admiration. His willingness to share the bed with his sick chaplain and his insistence on waiting to bid a kind farewell to the innkeeper demonstrate his compassion and prioritization of courtesy and sincere affection over personal conveniences. These acts of kindness reinforce his teaching that maintaining an attentive and loving disposition towards others is an integral part of a devout life. This example encourages us to apply these same dispositions in our lives, in our own contexts, and always remember that small acts of love and respect can be as significant as any grand spiritual gesture.